Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Felix. So today I want to talk about the TSP. So for people who don't know what TSP is, it is a government retirement fund, kind of like a 401k, and it is employee matching. So a lot of people when they start, at least when I started, they would start out at 3% automatically. And the government will match up to 3%, which will make it 6. And then the automatic 1% match, which will make it to 7. So 7% of your annual income going into your retirement, which isn't bad, but they're also missing out a lot of money. So let's say if I invest 5% of my income, the government will match up to 3%, which will make it 8. The auto 1% will make it into 9. And then the other 2%, I will get 0.5% for the government. So if I invest 5%, you get a 10% total of your annual income into your retirement, which is quite awesome. For me personally, I'm putting 15% of my own money into retirement right now. So in total, 20% of my annual income is going into my retirement currently. So if you are new to the TSP program or if you did not know about this, I highly urge you to go at least bump up your contributions to 5%. So you get the extra money and you will have a bigger retirement. Next one I want to talk about is funds. So there are 5 kind of individual funds in the TSP. You got a G fund, which is pretty much a high yield savings account. The F fund is the Bloomberg Barclays Bond Index. C fund follows the S&P 500. The S fund follows the small cap like Dow Jones. And I fund follows the international market. I will talk about the L fund a little bit later. So back when I got hired in, the default was everybody's money was in G fund. The G fund is a safe fund. Your money just sits there, picks up maybe 2 to 3% interest each year, and it grows very slowly. Right now, I have most of my money in C fund. 80% of my money is in C fund, which follows the S&P 500, and 20% of my money is in the S fund, which is for Dow Jones. And if anybody has actually been following the market, well, until last year, we have been going up a lot. I believe last year in 2019, I got about 27% increase on my retirement. So if you're sitting in G fund, I highly urge you to at least move your money into the C fund. And if you're in your 20s, 30s, even 40s, you don't even have to worry about the fluctuation of the market until 20, 30, 40 years later. So yeah, just put your money in C fund and just let that thing ride. And when you're getting close to retirement, slowly back it out and put it back in the G fund. Now, if you want to have a more of a hands-off approach, there's a thing called the L fund. It's a life cycle fund. So whatever year you're retiring, for me, it will be L 2050. And the year 2050, I'll be eligible to retire. So right now I have, 30 more years to go. So they're going to put my money into more aggressive markets. They're going to put a lot in C fund, a lot in S fund, a lot in I fund, a lot in F fund, and probably not a whole lot in G fund. Let's say the year goes by and the year goes by, it's about 2040. They're going to start slowly pulling money out of the more aggressive funds like the CNS and slowly putting it in more to the more safer ones like the G fund. And as closer and closer I get to my retirement age at 2050, most of my money will be in G fund. And this is a very good fund for people who just want to set it and forget it. Just put your money into whatever fund you're planning on retiring or withdrawing and just put it in there. Like I said earlier, I am L2050. I am 30 years old. If people are in their 20s or 20 years old, they'll be L2060. People who are 10 years older than me, they'll be an L2040. And those are great funds. Your annual returns are not going to be as high as putting it in a C fund and S fund. But you're going to get a more safer growth than those two. It's going to be more aggressive than the G fund. And by the time you're retiring, it automatically puts your money back into G fund, so it'll be safe. And that's what I recommend most people. I'm more of a hands-on on my TSP. I also do investing outside of TSP on the outside market. So I like to have my hands on these. So I keep pretty much almost daily track of what's happening to my retirement. But if you're the type of person who just wants to set it and forget it, yeah, I would highly encourage you to put it into the L fund. When I got hired into my job, the default was, like I mentioned earlier, 3% and into G fund. I believe nowadays the default is 5% and L fund. But if you have 30, 40 years to go into retirement, I don't see why not. You can put it in the C fund, which followed the S&P 500 market, which grows about anywhere from 8 to 10% a year each year. I think that's a better choice, and you'll have a bigger retirement, a steady retirement, and yeah, that's what I would recommend. Also, instead of that 5%, I highly recommend try to put at least 10-15% into your retirement. If you use a calculator on their website, the more and more you put in, I mean, obviously the compound interest is going to help, and you're going to have a lot bigger retirement. I think 15% is that sweet spot where you get a good amount of growth, but also you're not taking too much out of your paycheck. So if you can afford it, slowly, start bumping up your TSP, maybe 1%, 2% at a time. Maybe each time you get a raise or a step increase, you put a little bit more money in there. And yeah, just watch that thing grow. So currently, I've been working in my job for a little over 8 years, and I have a little over $90,000 in my TSP account, and I'm just in my 30s. And if I work another 30 years, I can retire a millionaire, which I am pretty excited about. But also, I don't want to work until I'm 60. I do really want to retire when I'm 50 or maybe 55. So I did start some outside stuff, which I might talk about in another video. And yeah, that's what I have to say about TSP. If this thing helped you at all, if this video helped you make a decision or give you more information about TSP, please press the like button and go ahead and subscribe. Thank you. See you guys later.